Okay, hi everybody. This is Sarah Elise, and I am in Toronto. I'm an astrologer. Here is my take on the new moon that's coming up on kind of Saturday, Sunday. It's crossing both days on the Pacific coast. We're looking at around 10 o'clock or so on Saturday. And on the East Coast, it's about midnight. I'm sorry, maybe 9 o'clock on Saturday. So it's really just in the crossover between these 2 days. And Yeah, this is a Scorpio new moon. It's happening at 23 degrees of Scorpio. And the new moon is locked into the Pluto Jupiter conjunction. So it's sextiling Pluto and Jupiter, and it's trining Neptune in Pisces. So we've got this really interesting energy um for this new moon that I want to talk to you about because I feel like this is a really great jumping off point for us. We have been doing so much transformation, so much hard work. Oh my God, we're almost out of it. And this weekend is a time for us to stabilize and ground into the power that we have become and like the ferocity of our own intention and the inner stable ground that we are slowly realizing we have. There's still a lot of chaotic energy right now. Let me just affirm that. Jupiter is conjunct exact degree with Pluto right now and has been for the last day or two. Um, I believe actually today, which is the 12th of November, that this is the exact prime conjunction day. So what does this mean exactly? Jupiter in and Capricorn conjunct Pluto and Capricorn and Saturn and Capricorn conjunction. This is the stuff that we've been going through all of 2020 and that I've been talking about and every single astrologer on planet Earth is talking about. So if you're watching this video, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. But it's what let me just reiterate for you because you never know. So the coming together of these three massive players in the sky, in the element or in the archetype of Capricorn, has been about us kind of rattling up inside the cage or inside the forms that we as a society, as a global community, and as individuals within that had become accustomed to living inside of. So we as a society and as individuals create reality based on the truth that we hold, Sagittarius, based on our truth, we create reality. And we create reality by standing up and making agreements inside ourselves and with each other on what rules we're going to follow. Correct? That's why Capricorn traditionally um, rules things like government and corporations and structures, social rules, the social sphere itself, because Capricorn is foundation. If we want to exist in a collective civilization, we have to have Capricorn. We have to have the structure, right? We need to have the utilities providing electricity to our houses. We have to have the garbage people come and collect our refuse and take it to a facility where it gets processed because we couldn't live in our own filth. We have to have food systems that go out and generate abundance, bring it back into our cities and sell it to us so that we can bring it to our table and feed our families. Like Capricorn is an extremely important part of our life, and it will always be so. It's how we build culture. It's how we build a cohesive structure within which we can all go home to Cancer and take care of our and nurture our young. Within ourselves, we also abide by rules, right? And those rules generally come from social conditioning that we are, well, that we are exposed to when we're little, when we're children. We receive conditioning from our parents, and when we receive conditioning from our school system, and we receive conditioning from media and the world around us in general. We also receive conditioning from our structure genetically. So we carry things in our bodies, like beliefs and forms in our bodies, and those things dictate how we behave and how we see and feel in the world as well. We also carry patterns from past lives that we carry through with us that become limitations or that becomes constructs within which we experience our realities. So there's nowhere ever that we can't not operate within some kind of hierarchical system of rules. It's just, even at a universal level, there are laws that we adhere to. That, principles like do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. That's a universal law, kind of defining the karma, right? If the principle that which you expend in terms of energetic frequency will at some point return to you, so that you can balance it out. So if you do harm to another, that harm is really you doing it to yourself. Essentially, that's what that means, right? um, my youngest son, my 6-year-old, comes home from school lamenting about how the children in his class aren't following the golden rule, which is treat others the way you want them to treat you. And for him, for a 6-year-old little boy with South Node in the 10th house, he is so concerned and upset by this, not following the rules, because he intrinsically understands what that means. It's an affront to him at some soul level. It creates discord for him. So in any case, we live by these rules, and 2020 has been a shakedown of these rules. It has been a takedown of these rules. And I'm not just talking about you know the rules that we have to follow, around COVID and all of that stuff. Like that has been part of it. Like we've had the entire normative structure of our society and our world kind of collapse, and then we've had to start to rebuild it, right? And we're doing the best we can. So there's a lot of there are a lot of people who are claiming that COVID is a sham, or COVID is there's an overreaction. And that may come to light in the next few years, that it's true, we overreacted, or we took measures that were too extreme, and now we have to pull back and recoup ground and stabilize and come back and rebuild things in a way that is beneficial to all instead of oppressive to all. I don't know, and I'm not making any judgments on it, but all I can say is that within the mess that has been 2020, if you look externally, it's been a crazy, chaotic mess. But if you look internally, the same mess has been unfolding. I don't know a single person who has not been forced to look deeply in upon themselves and take account of what's going on in there, to really face in to what's actually happening on the interior space of your reality. This has been the come to Jesus that we've been waiting for. It's been the stop, right? No one could move. It's been really, really painful to have to stand inside the form and to watch it fall apart, and to not have anything real, quote unquote real, or anything sure to hold on to, correct? And that's okay, because that's kind of what we've all been accelerating into, in order to come to a deeper sense of what really matters to us and who we truly are. And now that we're coming to the end of the cycle, this new moon in Scorpio is a really important moment in time for us to do that, to take account of who we really are now. The last few months have been testing us very strongly. We've had Mars in Aries retrograde since September, and it's been squaring the stellium in Capricorn. So we've had like this desire to break out, this desire to break free, this desire to be independent, or to be individualistic. We've had this desire to be ourselves kind of internally referencing. So it's been poking back into us and forcing us to anchor down deeply into our instinctual root system, and to kind of get in touch with that part of us, our primal will force, that is only our own, not anybody else's, right? Like, I don't know if anybody has been a little bit more introverted in the last few months since Mars went retrograde and then Mercury joined soon after. But it's been a really introverted energy of asking us to deeply anchor into our own integrity. Now that Mars is about to go direct on the 14th, so on the same day as our new moon, Mars will move direct, and we will find that our agency or our sense of personal power or personal will also be unlocked. It will also go direct. So we're going to have like this impellation of energetic forcefulness or this movement dynamic or this extension outward that kind of comes from that moment after the 14th. Okay. So what the 14th is asking us to do is to look deeply within Scorpio. It's the archetype. Scorpio is the archetype of deep inner self awareness. It's the archetype of deep, dark embodiment of whole power, personal power. And Scorpio is known for requiring absolute absolute alignment within even the darkest of places, right? It is within the Scorpio archetype that the soul and the personality meet and do battle and do the final battle. They meet and battle each other, and the soul comes out victorious because the personality and all the things that we're afraid of in ourselves, all the things that we don't like, all the things that make us uncomfortable, all of our shadow parts that we're ashamed of, all the parts where we're manipulative, or all the parts where we're afraid, or all the parts where we fantasize little horror dreams or little fantasies of what could be or what could go wrong or why no one likes me or why I'm awful or why I'm ugly or whatever it might be, or how do I get what I want, or how do I win that over, or how do I take that from you because I'm jealous and I hate you. Like, these are all deep shadow pieces of our personalities that Scorpio is asking us at this full moon to come inside of and to hold and to stand within, as though we were saying an unequivocal yes to who we are. And as we say yes to who we are, as we don't run, as we stand in our own shadow, as we stand up in our own shadow, and as we allow ourselves to feel who we are and what we are at the deepest level, what happens is we start to realize that all the things that we're afraid of, they can't hold up to the power of who we really are. The trick at this new moon comes with that trine to Neptune, okay? The trine to Neptune is inviting us to connect this deep sense of personal embodiment and standing in our deep shadow, but not getting lost in it. Rather, extending our reach out, extending our arm out and across and up toward that which we call God, or that which we call the divine, or that which we call source, or our guides, or our angels, or whatever vocabulary you want to use. But Neptune really does express that quality of the divine unconditional love, or divine support, spiritual support. And so the invitation of the new moon is, yes, to sit deeply in our own power. Yes, to stare ourselves in the face. Yes, to kind of do a final reckoning on all the things that we've lost this year, all the transformation we've gone through, all the forms that we've let go of, all of the attachments that have just been ripped out of our hands, all the habits we've had to change, all the moments of grief, all the fears we've had to face, all the ways we've given ourselves away to others, to power, to authority, and all the ways that we have then ripped ourselves back and reclaimed our sovereignty, reclaimed ourselves. This is all the stuff that's been going on this year. And on Saturday, Sunday, it's the time to kind of sit in that and feel the wholeness of that. And then reach up to the divine, reach up to your higher self, reach up to God and ask for help, ask for support, and know it is there for you. Know it is willing to be there for you and that is waiting for you to connect into it during this moment, during this new moon. And there's a declaration that wants to be born of us at this new moon, isn't there? There's a declaration of personal power supported by divine will, personal power supported by divine love, and an acknowledgement and a recognition of what 2020 was, and then a shoring up of our resources, right? A shoring up of our power so that we can step ahead into the next cycle, which begins on the 21st of December as Saturn and Jupiter come conjunct in Aquarius. So, like I talked about in our last video, we are at the end of our Pluto transit. This is it. Now, Pluto will not enter Aquarius until 2023. So we have a few more years of cleaning up the Capricorn, right? Of revealing what is wanting to be revealed and transforming it. But for us on a personal level and on a collective level, this really does mark a moment in time where we are completing this. We're finishing this year, both in the Gregorian calendar and astrologically. It's all working hand in hand at this time. And it's so important for you to go inside and to honor the changes you've made and to declare them to yourself and to declare them in the eyes of God, because you're not alone. We're not alone. And this is a moment in time where we need to reach out for support, because one of the risks of Scorpio is it can get very myopic. It can get very lost in its Scorpio cave. It can go down, tunneling down, deeper, darker, darker. And when it does that, it can go so far away from life and from anything that it feels is good that it can get lost. So making sure you elevate and hold up that energetic opening, that alignment, that like just in that invocation, that prayer is a really important thing during this new moon. So some of the questions that you could ask yourself during this new moon would be things like, who am I now after the last 12 months? What has the journey been like? What have I learned? Where have I come from? And what is the me that I now want to stabilize into? What is my new declaration of self? What is my new empowered persona going to be? What am I now kind of invoking to bring in? What am I ready for? What new level of intimacy am I ready for in my life as well? It may be intimacy with ourselves, because Scorpio is all about merging, right? Some people call it the true archetype of marriage, where two souls come together and become one. So it's an invitation into intimacy with the self, with the universe, and possibly with others as well. Now, there is another element to this new moon that I want to just mention, and that's the fact that Neptune is squaring the nodal axis right now. And this, I'm bringing this in only because she's also trining the new moon. So with Neptune trying the new moon and square the nodal axis, I feel like it's a worthy thing to kind of bring up, although it's not exactly like talking about this moment in time. It's kind of a theme that's up right now, and that is the theme of connection, the theme of how do we reach out to others and be in connection with others without being judgmental, without being mean, without being hurtful, without being rude, without being dogmatic. How do we listen to other people and really connect and use our minds for intellectual conversation that is fact-based, rather than standing on a soapbox and yelling and hurting and being cruel and belittling? It's a theme in the collective sphere right now, and the moment of time at the new moon is almost an opportunity for us to kind of anchor into who we want to bring to the collective, like the me that I now want to make myself available as, in order to merge more and connect more with other people. Like it's like like I already said, it's like we're shoring up our resources and we're getting stronger and we're connecting to personal power, so that person that we declare ourselves to be on the new moon can come out and extend and be more generous and be more gentle and be more equitable and be more connected and be more respectful and be more of an equal in the environment that we're all in right now. Because we're heading into 2021 where the energy is going to shift to Aquarius, and we're all going to be faced. Our next hurdle or our next challenge on the horizon is dealing with the energy of collective thought, collective action, and collective belief. Right? Have you ever heard the term group think? Right? We're going to be kind of really heading into a time in the next couple of years where we may be faced with kind of having to come up against really powerful group dynamics that ask us to question whether or not the group is more important than the individual, or whether the individual is more important than the group, or how these two things interplay. Okay. Now, so what we're doing right now is we're making sure that that individual that we're going to bring into this next stage is as strong and clear and healthy and powerful as possible. Okay. So that's the invitation of the new moon, to get really deeply connected to your power. And please don't forget that there is nothing to fear but fear itself. When you stand still in yourself and you stand in the wake of your darkest imaginings, your deepest fears and insecurities, when you really stand in that and you use the power of your heart to reach out to your higher self and to God and to the divine, and you pull that energy in, but you do not turn away from the shadow. You stand with it, and you hold your presence despite it or within it. It will shift, and you will realize that for every shadow you face, that's a deeper and more powerful space within yourself that you can now be in, that you now sit in. Right? That's why Scorpio is so intense. When they face all their demons, when they go all the way to the bottom, to the deepest ground of their being, they're unshakable. Nothing can topple them over. Right? The only way to go from there is to rise up into the phoenix. And that's what this new moon is asking us for. What is the phoenix that wants to be born of you in this next stretch of time as we enter 2021? Okay, thank you for your time and attention, and good luck for you all on the new moon, and we'll connect with you in a couple of weeks, okay? Blessings.